Good morning, my friends. My name is Lama Jigme. I am the non-sectarian Buddhist monk, teacher, healer, yogi, and tantrika. Today we're going to explore the fifth in the series of videos about karmic purification. Now, if this is the first time you're watching my talking head, go back to the first video in this series. You can find it on my YouTube channel, which is easy enough to do. Just find the YouTube icon in this video, give that a click, and it'll have someplace on the screen you'll find Lama Jigme Gyatso or Lama Jigme. Click that, it'll take you to my page. Easy enough to do. In the wild world of Buddhism, there are many practices that promise to purify our karmic negativities. There are offering practices, and there are bowing practices, and there are mantra practices. The reason I'm teaching this practice is because, in my opinion, it's the most efficient. It cleanses karmic negativities and their propensities as a byproduct. Its primary goal is to help us increase our bliss, concentration, love, compassion, and the wisdom of letting go. By exercising those things, we purify our karmic negativities. There are many ways to increase our good fortune. There are many ways to pacify our bad luck. This series is my personal favorite. Not only is it efficient metaphysically in improving our good fortune, but it helps us to progress dramatically upon Buddha's path to enlightenment. And after all, that's the main reason we're here. If we're practicing a system hoping to wake up a lottery winner tomorrow morning, this probably is not the system for you. But if what you want is to learn how to navigate life with greater skill and poise, to increase your wisdom and your peace and your love and your joy, regardless of what manifests, then this is the path for you. Now, none of what I'm saying is going to make any sense unless you're looking at the free PDF that you can download using the links below. So pause this video, download the latest version of that free PDF right now, and I'll wait. Welcome back. Let's get to it. Join me, if you will, on page 44. Once again, pause me, get to page 44, and then push play yet again. Welcome back. We're on page 44, lesson 5. The chant, we're going to do re-smile chanting. And the meditations will cover breathing, loving, and letting go. Join me now on page 45. And once again, we see the fifth lessons, table of contents, divided under 3 headings of chanting, meditation, and karmic investment. You'll notice that under the chanting we use the word or, which infers that you don't have to recite every chant before every meditation session. If I was you, first thing in the morning, I would chant the new stuff, which would be the re-smile. And in the evening, after work, I'd recommend that you chant one of the previous 4 chants as a review. Now, for the meditation, you'll always start with awareness of breathing and wisdom of letting go, and either the conventional or the ultimate loving kindness meditation. So join me now on page 50. I'm going to take a moment to insult your intelligence by reading text to you, which is on the page in front of your face. After releasing the feeling or sensation and allowing it to be without trying to control it, there is a subtle, barely noticeable tension within body and mind. This is why this extra relaxed tranquilization step was pointed out by the Buddha in his Anapanasati meditation instructions. We'll stop right here for a quick aside. Anapanasati is, of course, Pali, which is the favorite scriptural language for the Theravadan sect of Buddhism, also known by some as the Southern School. I've been studying the Anapanasati and Satipatthana Suttas, or these translations of them, for many, many years. And for a very long time, I was bewildered by the call to relax and to tranquilize. But you know what? I'm on the wrong page, much to my chagrin. We should be on page 52. So, excuse me while I blush, and let's continue. Page 52. If you've read the Satipatthana, 4 Foundations of Mindfulness, you might remember that Buddha taught the importance of joy is integral to enlightenment's path. Now, I don't know about you, but I always found that frustrating because I was practicing enlightenment's path to experience greater joy. And I was told that joy was requisite to completing enlightenment's path. For years, I found this very confusing. But not one, not two, but several teachers have said the key to the joy that Buddha endorsed is found in simply smiling. Very, very subtle. You know, like the Mona Lisa, not like a creepy clown. Let's continue. Learning to smile with mind and slightly raising the corners of the mouth helps mind to be observant, alert, and agile. And a quick aside, what I found ironic is that by choosing to slightly raise the corners of the mouth with the intention of smiling, the mind will spontaneously look for something to find amusing, even if that amusement is subtle or just twisted. Let's continue. Getting serious, tensing up, or frowning causes mind to become heavy, and one's mindfulness becomes dull and slow. One's insights become more difficult to see, thus slowing down one's understanding of the Dhamma. The Dhamma is Pali for Dharma, which is Sanskrit, which is simply, in this context, Buddha's teachings. Strictly speaking, Dhamma means phenomena, and so it could be inferred that Buddha Dharma was actually a way to communicate Buddha's teachings about the ultimate nature of phenomena. But that's very, very wordy, so I just got shortened down to Buddha's teachings. Let's continue. Imagine for a moment a young bodhisattva resting under the rose apple tree as a young prince. He was not serious and tense when he attained a jhana, pleasant abiding, and had deep insights with a light mind. Now, these two quatrains really require a little bit of explanation, so we'll do that right now. So there are many definitions of a bodhisattva. My favorite definition is a man or a woman whose entire identity is determined by their practice of the Buddha's teachings of the spiritual path and by selecting altruistic motivation. Doesn't mean they have less of motivation, but they choose to be loving and compassionate. So, when it reads, imagine for a moment the young Bodhisattva resting under the rose apple tree as a young prince. That's a reference to an incident that is recorded in the scriptures that occurred before Gautama the monk became the Buddha. Before Gautama the monk was Gautama the monk, when he was a little boy known as Siddhartha, born in the Shakya clan. It seems that at a certain point of the year, the king would participate in a ritual farming practice. I think it was springtime. And so to escape the heat, the young prince sat under a rose apple tree. And he spontaneously meditated. And his meditation was this a very playful experience. The day was warm. The air smelled beautiful with rose apple blossoms. He looked forward to a delicious picnic. So it was a very relaxed, pleasurable setting. And the first inference we can take from this is that our meditation is to be a pleasurable experience. If we are gutting it out, if we are pushing ourselves, making a colossal mistake. The moment meditation stops being fun, stop doing it. In fact, before it stops being fun, stop doing it. Always leave yourself wanting a little bit more. And that way you'll find it effortless to add 4 minutes to your daily meditation every week. 4 minutes might not, now 4 minutes on one hand could seem like a lot. But on the first week we start off with 1 1/3 minutes. The second week's 2 2/3 minutes. The third week we are up to 3 3/3 minutes, which is a silly way of saying 4. Now, if at the end of every practice session, every morning and every evening, you leave yourself wanting more, you'll cultivate what I like to call divine impatience. And theoretically, you'll be chomping at the bit and 7 days to increase your daily meditation at 4 minutes every morning, 4 minutes every evening, or 4 minutes every session. So it's 4 minutes, the incremental increase takes place once a week. Now that might not seem like very much, but I assure you, if you do that diligently, week after week, before the end of the year, before 12 months have elapsed, you will be comfortably and pleasurably meditating 3 hours every morning, 3 hours every evening. Now you might say, hey, I could understand how that could fool my heart, my mind, and my body. How am I going to fool my schedule to make room for 1 hour every morning and every evening, or less 2 or 3? The same way that grass grows through the sidewalk. Grass grows extremely slowly, and the grass is so weak, and you can bend it with a child can bend a blade of grass with their fingers. But because it moves so slowly, so gently, for some strange reason, it's able to overcome that which is heavier and more rigid. When I spent a summer living in West Hollywood, there was a very old tree whose roots were so big they actually caused the sidewalk to buckle, I think close to 14 inches. And obviously trees grow very slowly. If we are enthusiastic to become happy, transformed, powerful contemplatives, we practice twice a day, every day, increasing our practice as little as 4 minutes a week. Our spontaneous creativity will find ways to make room for our meditation. This isn't just a Theravada teaching. My tantric teachers have echoed the same sentiments, and so I share them with you. the final, and I'll now repeat the last two quatrains so you can pick up the momentum. Imagine for a moment the young Bodhisattva resting under the rose apple tree as a young prince who was not serious and tense when he attained a jhana pleasant abiding and had deep insights with a light mind. When people think about deep insights, they sometimes jump into Hinduism and say we're all one, we're the universe having a human experience. Ooh, Martians stole Atlantis. No. Buddha's insights were incredibly simple. Everything is affected by everything. Everything affects everything. Consequently, everything changes. You are full of interdependence. What's the opposite of full? Empty. What's the opposite of interdependence? Separateness. So if we're full of interdependence, or empty of anything separate to grasp. We are full of change. What's the opposite of full? Empty. What's the opposite of change? Permanence. So we're full of change. We are empty of anything permanent to grasp. What does the idea of no self mean? It means, hey, you, the idea of you being separate is a non-graspable myth. The idea of you being permanent is a non-graspable myth. Does that mean you don't exist? No, you exist. But you're just subject to everything else. You affect everything else. Hear that, Koch brothers? You're affecting everything else, so mind your manners and stop killing Earth. Doesn't mean you don't exist. It means you don't exist in a permanent way. You're always changing. Every living cell in our body is replaced. Sometimes in a matter of hours, sometimes in a matter of years, depending upon which cell we're talking about. But within 7 years, more than every cell in our body has been replaced, which is really optimistic. Using Buddhist techniques is possible to overcome even the most grotesque of traumas. Hear that, victims of PTSD? I'm talking to you. Hear that, rape survivors? I'm talking to you. It can be healed, which is awesome. One of the cool things about me being a survivor of physical assault, emotional assault, sexual assault, of me wrestling with birth defects, birth trauma, brain damage, of me wrestling with PTSD my entire life due to multiple causes, is that my body, my mind, and my emotions have become a bullshit detector. The reasons I'm sharing these techniques with you is they work on me, my mind, my heart, my body. And if they work on this disaster area, they will work for you. Let's continue with page 53. Want to see clearly? It's easy. Just lighten up, have fun exploring, and smile. Smiling leads us to a happier, more interesting practice. When I was a Zen practitioner, I was taught that you're supposed to concentrate on the object of concentration, whether it be a spot of the wall, or my breathing, or something else. And every time my mind moves, it's an indictment about my spiritual unworthiness. No. That's the way to neurosis not the way to Nibbana or Nirvana, depending upon what you like, the Sanskrit or the Pali. The path to Nirvana or Nibbana is this. Make a game out of how quickly you can notice when your attention moves away from home base. Whether home base is some chore, or home base is your breath, or home base is love, or home base is compassion. The game is not how long can you force your mind to stay on its object of concentration. No! The object is your mind's going to move. That's inevitable. What separates the men from the boys is how quickly they're able to notice it. And then use the methods of recognize, release, recognize, relax. And in addition to today's methods, we are going to learn in just a momentito. Let's continue. If the contemplative forgets to release and relax, rather than punishing or criticizing oneself, be kind, re-smile, and start again. Keeping up one's humor, sense of fun exploration, and returning to home base is important. After re-smiling, mindfulness guides us to return or redirect. Now let's go back to 52 and use the triplet chant that by this point you should be very comfortable with. If you have read the Satipatthana for Foundations of Mindfulness, you might remember that Buddha taught the importance of joyous and truthful to enlightenment's path, learning to smile with mind and slightly raising the corners of the mouth helps mind to be observant, alert and agile. Getting serious, tensing up or frowning causes mind to become heavy, and one's mindfulness becomes dull and slow. One's insights become more difficult to see, thus slowing down one's understanding of the Dhamma. Imagine for a moment the young Bodhisattva resting under the rose apple tree as a young prince. He was not serious and tense when he attained to jhana, pleasant abiding, and had deep insights with a light mind. Want to see clearly, it's easy, just lighten the path, find exploring and smile. Smiling leads us to a happier, more interesting practice. If the contemplative forgets to release and relax, rather than punishing or criticizing oneself, be kind, we smile and start again. Keeping up one's humor, sense of fun, exploration, and returning to home base is important. After re-smiling, mindfulness guides us to return or redirect. I just had being a great big science fiction geek, I just had a flashback to Star Wars Episode 5, known as The Empire Strikes Back, which was partially written by Lawrence Kasdan, who's not only a director, but a hell of a screenwriter. So here's the deal. There is a discussion on Dagobah where Luke is trying to convince Yoda to accept him as a student. And to conclude his argument, Luke says, "But I'm not scared." To which Yoda responds in a very creepy voice, "You will be." So here's the deal. Some people say, but Lama, Jigme, I'm scared my mind will move away from home base. And the answer is, don't be scared. It will. It's a certainty. It is an inevitability. It is the way our mind is designed. And any spiritual system that ignores that is doomed to end in frustration. One of the reasons I'm so enthusiastic about Buddha's system, as it was originally taught, is that it is in perfect harmony with the way mind works. Mind is squirrely. It moves around. And using every opportunity that mind gets squirrely to practice the 6 R's. Accelerates enlightenment. It doesn't retard it, it accelerates it. I explored many spiritual systems. Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism. I dabbled with Sikhism, Taoism, and every sect of Buddhism. Did I do this because I'm flighty? No. I did this because, quite frankly, oh yeah, I dabbled in a little bit of magic too. But I did this because I was most in shamanism. I dabbled in shamanism. The reason I stuck with this system, it was the only one I was aware of that worked in harmony with the way brain and heart and mind and body spontaneously work with thought plus, yet had the highest aspirations. Please jump in now on page 54. Lam Rim's Sutric or Philosophical Anapanasati, Awareness with Breathing. Below that it reads Chogchen's Tantric or Experiential Bliss Training of Anu Yoga. There's a lot of words here. The reason they're being put here so that you decide you like this and you stick with this for days or weeks or months or years, and you come across other Buddhists, you'll be able to speak to them with a modicum of intelligence, using English words, using Sanskrit words, using Tibetan words, using Pali words, which can make one's life much easier. It makes it much easier to develop friendships. So let's continue with our review. We've already learned this stuff. Left hand in lap. Now I'm going to stand up so you can see my hands better. Left hand in lap. Oh gosh, how do I do this? Left hand in lap. You're going to touch the tip of your left thumb to your left ring finger. You're going to slide that thumb down to the third, second, and first set of creases. Place our right hand on top of this, and typically we do this on our lap, but you can't see my lap with the desk here. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to take the big knuckle from my right ring finger and rest it upon the tip of my left ring finger. Take the tip of my right thumb, and I use it to count 12 sets of creases, 12 breaths. 1, 2, 3 on the little finger, 1, 2, 3 on the ring finger, 1, 2, 3 on the middle finger, which is useful for driving, and 1, 2, 3 on the index finger of the right hand. Having said that, let's begin with the little finger, with 3 breathing repetitions of grin to lungs, releasing. Now we count 3 creases on our right ring finger. Grin to diaphragm, releasing. Now move our thumb to our right middle finger. Grin to bowels, releasing. Now we start counting on our index finger. How long breath? Relaxing. On page 54, we have the wisdom of letting go. So when our mind moves, and by the way, at this point, let's be sure to see what's going on with my hands. We've completed our first set of 12, so our left thumb slides up our left ring finger to the second set of creases. Now working on our second set of 12, which we count on again and always on our right hand. When our mind moves, one repetition of recognize, releasing. One repetition of recognize, relaxing. One repetition of re-smiling, returning. Returning to what? Returning to the question, how long breath? Relaxing. Re-smiling, returning. And now back to how long breath? Relaxing. Now, obviously, if you're being led by me on this tape, on this video, you're being a little bit less than spontaneous, but that's okay. When you practice on your own, you'll be able to go back and forth between the 6 R's and home base, whatever your mind moves. Recognize, releasing. How long, oops, my mistake, let's continue. Recognize, relaxing. Re-smiling, returning. How long breath? Relaxing. Now, we're going to turn our attention back to my hands again, and your hands. And our left thumb slides up our left index, the middle finger. Whoops, let's try this again. Our left thumb slides up our left ring finger up to the third. Come on. Third set of creases. Right hand is on top of this. And we continue. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Re-smiling, returning. A long breath, relaxing. Recognize, releasing. Recognize relaxing. Re-smiling, returning. How long breath? Relaxing. This concludes our first set of 4 minutes. Won't you please join me now on page 56. We'll begin with review. So we're going to begin by exploring our sense of self-centered craving, wanting something good for ourselves. Give me health, relaxing. So let's return our attention to the camera. And at this point, we're going to take a break from our left ring finger. And we're going to move, come on camera, settle down. We're going to move our left thumb to our left little finger. And just like before, we're going to count on the first crease for the first set of 12 breaths, the second crease for the second set of 12 breaths, and the third crease for the third set of 12 breaths. This will help bring the subtle energy into our pelvic cavity, which is very useful for manifesting. At this point, I like to take the big knuckle at the base of the right little finger, set it upon the tip of the little finger of the left hand. Let's commence. Give me health, relaxing. Now, we're not praying, we're not begging some great celestial being to give us health. We are exploring our own greed for health, our own craving for health. As Trungpa Rinpoche used to put it, we're showing love to ourselves. With the intention that we're going to use this self-centered love to create other-centered love in the very next exercise. Give me health, relaxing. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Re-smiling, returning. Give me health, relaxing. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Re-smiling, returning. Give me health, relaxing. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Smiling, returning. Give me health, relaxing. Now, if you start feeling bored, that's the optimum instant to practice the 6 R's. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Smiling, returning. Give me health, relaxing. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Smiling, returning. Give me health, relaxing. Now let's return our gaze to the camera. So here's the deal. We're now going to take our left thumb, slide that over to the base, or return it to the base of our left ring finger. We're now going to count 3 sets of 12, 3 creases of our left ring finger. We're still resting, however, the tip of our right pinky knuckle on the tip of our left pinky. Let's return to the test on page 56 and 57. As promised, now we're going to exercise giving a flying fuck about others. Now, you'll notice the text reads, give, and then there's a bracket, him, her, those, or blank space. Personally, and I'm going to put my mom, I'm going to put mom in that blank space. Why? Is my mom perfect? No. Do I have a strong sentimental connection with her? Of course, she's my mom. She gave birth to me. She raised me. My mom's not doing well right now. She's undergoing chemotherapy. Not a lot of fun. Her hair is now as short as mine. She fails to find the humor or irony in that. I think it's adorable. My mom looks like a nun. I just love that. But I prefer if my mom was not puking her guts out. I would prefer if my mom had a perfect bill of health. So, what I'm going to do is exploring my spontaneous desire for my mom to have health. Give mom health, relaxing. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Resmiling, returning. Give mom health, relaxing. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Resmiling, returning. Give mom health, relaxing. Numerous times people have asked me, how can I heal people using this exercise? Simple. Sincerely cultivating the intention that someone else receives something good is love. Love generates massive amounts of good karma. The good karma of the first exercise is guided by the words of the second exercise. The good karma generated by the second repetition is guided by the words of the third repetition, and so forth and so on. This has been used in Tibet to heal leprosy for centuries. But remember, our main purpose is to cultivate the intention to benefit others. To notice when our mind wanders, to apply the 6 R's, and then return to our love exercise. That's our main goal. Everything else, the jhanas of bliss, will take care of itself. The enlightenment will take care of itself. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Resmiling, returning. Give mom health, relaxing. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Resmiling, returning. Give mom health, relaxing. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Resmiling, returning. Give mom health, relaxing. Recognize, releasing. Recognize, relaxing. Re-smiling, returning. Give mom health, relaxing. Now, I'm going to take another opportunity to consult your intellect yet again. These meditations are silent. The only reason I'm talking is to help accelerate your learning curve. That's it. So now please join me on page 58. Page 58 is, of course, the ultimate selection. So instead of addressing our corporeal needs, addressing our spiritual needs of wisdom, love, peace, and joy. Now join me on page 60. Let's review the true purposes of oneself and others with our bookend chant. By this virtue may I now accomplish the spontaneous, habitual, easy, and effective mastery of Buddha's mental yogas, of wisdom, peace, love, and joy, and I lead every living being without exception to this ground. Let's review the conventional ultimate blessings. May everyone be healthy, wealthy, and happy. May everyone practice skillfully and joyfully. May everyone accomplish full enlightenment in this life, and then help many others do likewise. For truly that is the meaning of life. Jai Buddha, Jai Jai Buddha. 3 couplet puja. Om Namo Buddhaya. Full enlightenment for me. Om Namo Buddhaya. Full enlightenment for all. Om Namo Buddhaya. Completely letting go. Page 61. The care and presence of the lineage blessings. I'm going to read this to you. Through my virtuous merit from practicing pure motivation, may all living beings throughout all their lives continually experience the presence of Lama Gautama and always come under his care. Well, how do we practice with pure motivation? Not by feeling it, but by choosing it. I choose to benefit myself. I choose to benefit others. There you go. Who is Lama Gautama? Well, Gautama is obviously the Buddha's name. Who is Lama Gautama? Lama means teacher. So Lama Gautama means the team of my teacher and the Buddha. So let's chant. Through my virtuous merit from practicing with pure motivation, may all living beings throughout all their lives continually experience the presence of Lama Gautama and always come under his care. Now the lineage blessings, the goals. So that the teachings and practices of Lama Gautama, the King of Compassion, may flourish. May all obstacles be pacified. May all favorable conditions abound. Gautama never became the king of the Shakyas. He has become the King of Compassion. Let's chant. So that the teachings and practices of Lama Gautama, the King of Compassion, may flourish. May all obstacles be pacified, and may all favorable conditions abound. In Tantric Buddhism, we talk about pacification, increasing, controlling, and wrathful actions. It's the full and miraculous powers of a high bodhisattva. So, pacification, so it means may all obstacles to the flourishing of Lama Gautama's teachings be minimized and blow away like dust in the wind. And may all favorable conditions increase and multiply both in intensity and in duration, which is quite positive. So let's chant. So that the teachings and practices of Lama Gautama, the King of Compassion, may flourish. May all obstacles be pacified, and may all favorable conditions abound. Well, my friends, that concludes today's 12-minute guided meditation. Now, it's much longer because I was doing all that jibber-jabbing. When you practice on your own with the free PDF that you downloaded, it should take you about 12 minutes. About 2 minutes to chant, about 12 minutes to meditate silently, and about, 5 minutes for the final chant. Now here's the cool thing. You've gone from meditating for 1 1/3 minute to meditating for 12 minutes in just 5 lessons. Isn't that cool? Isn't that fun? Friends, I want to remind you that the Tuesday series of weekly meditation classes begins January 14th. So if you live in the greater Los Angeles area, by all means attend in person. It's a lot of fun. If you don't live in the greater Los Angeles area, then use Skype. There's only so much room in my venue, there's only so much room in my Skype auditorium. So if you're going to register, what thou doest thou quickly. And you can so find the lamajigme.com link below this video. You can use it to register. What's that? You say you got questions? You want to make a comment? Or just send me a cyber hug? Then use the Facebook link also below the video. May you and yours be healthy and happy, especially during this crazy time of year. Om Namo Buddhaya. Bye-bye.